Welcome to Bookends of Recovery. I'm Laura. I want you to know that sobriety and healing are within your reach, and you can make it happen. I did it, and so can you. Okay, today we are talking about a couple of different things. We're going to talk about spoon theory and how it can be applied to recovery and healing. We're going to talk about power of choice and stop sign. Not like how it can be applied to cars, but grounding exercises for power of choice and stop sign. Okay, so a little programming note before we get started. I'm not a life coach anymore. I know, wah wah. But what does that have to do with the podcast? Well, it means that the website has changed. So if you were looking for like the worksheets and blog posts and stuff like that I have referenced, it's in a different spot. It's now at bookendsofrecovery.com, and I apologize for the inconvenience that it caused. So the information should be updated like in Buzzsprout. So again, my apologies. All right, let's dig in. Did you know that when you woke up this morning, you woke up with a gift? Okay, not a literal gift, but the gift of the power of choice. Okay, not only is this a gift, but it's a right, and it's a right you get to enjoy every single day. And the better you understand it, the more transformative your life can be. Okay, how is that for like the most life coachy thing to say, right? But seriously, like even in the most challenging moments, you still have power. So no matter what your situation may be and how challenging those moments are, you always have a choice. So whether that choice may be between two things or many things, the power of choice lies in your hands. And I love that. That power gives you an opportunity to move in a path in your life to make positive and amazing changes. And we make choices throughout our day, like all the time. Some of them, of course, are more impactful than others. I mean, everything from, whether we're going to hit the snooze button in the morning to, whether we're going to work on our recovery and healing. And it really is. It's exciting how many things in our life we have the power to choose. We have the choice to be optimistic. We have the choice to be pessimistic. We have the choice to hang on to anger and bitterness. We have the choice to let it go, or at least do our best to try to let it go. We have the choice to work on ourselves. We have the choice to remain stagnant. We have the choice to isolate. We have the choice to reach out. We have the choice to love. We have the choice to hate. We have the choice to heal. We have the choice to numb. Like all of these things are in our hands. And that is power. And having the power to choose gives us an amazing opportunity to decide which path our journey will take us. It puts us in the driver's seat of our own destiny, right? Like, how amazing is this? And I will say, if you're like me, you may have made some choices in the past or even in the present that were not so great. And now we can look at those choices and see them as growth opportunities. And this way, if you're presented with those choices again, you'll have the knowledge and the power to choose differently. Because you have to remember, we're all works in progress. no matter where we are in our growth, in our recovery, or in our healing process, we're still works in process. And so that means we have to remember to give ourselves grace along the way. And the exciting thing about choice is the possibility that any kind of change is possible. And if you're a listener, you know one of my favorite words, not just because it's fun to say. I hope that some of you are going, oh, is she going to say malleable? Yes, I'm going to say malleable. Come on, say it with me. Malleable. I mean, it's a fun word to say, and it's so full of possibility. It means our brain has the possibility to change. We can always do better than we did yesterday or even an hour ago. We approach things with that growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. Okay, yeah, that life coach is definitely living inside me. But, a fixed mindset is when someone has this belief that things are just unchangeable, that change isn't possible. And it reminds me of that saying, once an addict, always an addict, because it makes it seems like change isn't possible and things feel hopeless and we're powerless. And of course, we know that in recovery we have to always have an awareness, and I get that. But we also know we have to choose sobriety. Every day we make a choice to stay sober, to stay clean. Every day we make a choice to heal and to grow. We choose positive changes in our life. That openness to change is an example of that growth mindset. We can always do better than we did yesterday or than we did an hour ago. Managing those challenges, choices can happen. So how do we do it? Of course, the best thing to do is to talk to somebody about it. Don't keep it bottled up inside. One of the things we learned as we're growing is it's okay to ask for help. I know that feeling of feeling like you're a burden to somebody. But you're not. You're not a burden. People genuinely want to help you. Like, I'm one of those people. Right now, I am laying here and doing what I want to do, and that's volunteer my time, my experience, my education. Like, this is what I want to do. Reach out if you need to. I'm here to help. You may not want to talk to a stranger, but talk to a trusted source, whether that's a friend or a support group or even a counselor or another life coach. And if that's not something that's available to you right now, then put yourself in someone else's shoes and ask yourself, what would they suggest that you do if these choices were presented to them? Sometimes it can help to create a pros and cons list. Write down the good options of your choice and the not so good options of your choice. You guys know I'm a huge fan of journaling. Journal it out. See what comes to mind. We've talked before about doing a word vomit, also known as brainstorming. That's not nearly as fun. But do a word vomit. Set a timer for, 5 or 10 minutes and just write what comes out. Just get it out of your brain and onto a piece of paper. It doesn't have to make sense, but clearing out the gunk in your head can really help, and it is so cathartic. Write your options down. by doing this, just write out all of your available choices and then evaluate each one. This will help you narrow down and make sure that the one you have chosen feels like it is actually the best one for you. Because when you make a choice, it might be made impulsively or because we think that's what someone else wants. And so we've convinced ourselves that it might be the best one for us. And it may not be. And then, you've had a few days to mull it over. And then you realize maybe this isn't the best choice, but I've already told people, so I'm going to stick with it. And so write it down, evaluate it, and don't worry about trying to save face for, other people. Don't worry about what other people are going to think, because ultimately, this is your life, and you have to do what's right for you. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick grounding exercise. So if that's not your jam, just fast forward for I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Don't worry, it's not like a meditation or anything. But it's just something that you can do if things are feeling like too big or overwhelming. And it's just really mostly about just using your imagination. So go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you to imagine. All I can think of right now is like my kids thinking of SpongeBob going, imagination. But I want you to imagine that your decision is right in front of you. And you can make it whatever you want it to be, but it needs to be something that represents your decision. As you're seeing it, I want you to see it vividly in the center of your mind's eye. If possible, try to picture it in color. Now, if it's in black and white, that's okay. And I want you to try to make either the colors more vivid or the black and white brighter. Really make the image brighter and brighter and brighter. Now take a moment to enlarge the image and bring it closer to you. And in your mind's eye, I want you to bring it very close to you, almost to the point where it's starting to get blurry. Examine the image. It's almost like it's in 3D. Rotate it in your mind's eye. Just kind of examine it as it goes past, back and forth, all around. As you're examining it, I want you to notice any feelings that are coming up inside you. Doesn't matter what they are. Could be anxiety, could be comfort. Any feelings that are going on. As you're noticing these feelings, I want you to make the image of that decision smaller. Make the colors less bright. And continue to do that. And now, push that image back and further away from you. Continue to make it smaller and smaller, duller and duller. If you want, you can move the image, either to the left or to the right. And we're not getting rid of the image. We're just giving it less power. Okay, now, how does that make you feel? How does it make you feel to make that decision just a little bit smaller? Remember, go ahead and open your eyes. Good. All right. We're not getting rid of the decision. We're just trying to make it feel less overwhelming. And that's a little exercise that you can do to, real quick. Doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but it's something to help you keep it from getting just overwhelming in that moment. And like I said, that's just real quick. You don't have to do it in such detail like I did, but I was trying to give you moments to pause and imagine it and kind of flip it around in your head. That was like a 3D object kind of thing. And something else that sometimes people get very anxious about is how you're going to tell other people. So practice. If you need to write it down, write it down. If you need to say it out loud in a mirror, or record yourself, go ahead and do that. Like, do the things that you need to do to prepare, and that will help to take away that anxiety and remove the fear of telling other people, especially the people that may be affected by your choice. And so, and then there's choices, sorry, excuse me, that there are choices that you may make in the moment. And I've talked before about, because these choices, the ones that happen quickly. And, we'd love to have that time that I just talked about where you can pause and rotate things in your head and examine it, and write down the pros and cons list and mull things over, especially if you're somebody who's in recovery or in healing and trying to stop that negative thinking before it overwhelms you. But I've talked before about even during those moments that happen quickly, when they feel so overwhelming and they're just like, oh my gosh, it's happening. There are those precious moments in between, right before it's about to happen, like right as it's happening, where you are making a choice that you do have control over. I want you to know I've been there. There are those moments where you can step out. And I always, I don't do video, but I'm making a circle where you can imagine like the hands of, or the face of a clock. And in those precious seconds, you can step out. And you just have to be aware of them. So as these things are starting to rise up, as these thoughts are coming, as the impulses are starting to rise, be aware. Pay attention. These moments, these choices, they're available. So let's talk about them. Because when I say in those moments, like things are challenging, I want you to know you have the power to challenge these moments. You have the power in that choice. You can be the power in that choice. So we'll use negative thinking as the first example because, sometimes those negative thoughts just pop into your head. So how do you stop that cycle? The first thing, because it's so quick and easy, is counting. And we've said before, it sounds silly, but my gosh, we all know how to count. And it's so quick and automatic, and it's easy, and it interrupts that circle, that cycle. And that's the job we're looking for, right? That's the mission, to stop. You want to stop your brain from going into that cycle. So you're trying to divert it. This is just a diversion tactic. We're going to divert it away. We're moving away from the negative and moving towards the positive. So now I'm going to say the alphabet. I'm going to count. Why? Because it's something I know. It's something quick. It's something easy. These are the precious seconds that we're going to do. Because we want to stop. We want to pause. We want something that's within reach. We want something that's quick. And, you guys, I've talked about, I don't know how many times, about how important it is to practice your favorite grounding tools in moments of calm, so that it's just as easy as you knowing how to count and do your alphabet. And so let's talk about one of my favorites, and aside from counting in the alphabet, and that's the stop sign. And I joked before about, well, not the one about the car, but it kind of is, because we all know what a stop sign looks like. And so, again, if you're not interested in grounding techniques, in visualization, you might want to fast forward for like another minute. But we're going to go ahead and use our mind's eye, because it is such a powerful tool. Because where is your craving coming from? Where are your negative thoughts coming from? They're coming from your mind. So why are we not using this as a tool, right? So let's go ahead and get into your headspace. And if you need to, take a couple of breaths. And in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine a stop sign. Because as I'm saying it, one should be popping up in your head anyway. And as you're seeing that stop sign, the stop sign's automatically telling your brain to stop. But I want you to go a little bit deeper. So we're seeing the stop sign. It's bright red. But now I want you to see the reflective whiteness of the letters. See the reflective metal. See the silver screws around it. Are they rusted? Make that red bright. Now I want you to make that stop sign huge. Really fill it up in your mind's eye. Make it come right up to your face. And practice seeing that stop sign over and over and over again. I remember when I did mine, it had like little pings on it from when people would do pop shots at it with BB guns. And I just had a lot of detail in mine. But you can open your eyes now. But I wanted mine to have that vivid detail just because I wanted it to be personalized. But you do yours however you want to see it. And I realized, which is silly because I guess it was just my subconscious, that mine was actually the stop sign when I was visualizing it. And I didn't know until just one day I just happened to look. It was a stop sign that was at the end of my road that I was seeing with the little pop marks. I was like, oh my gosh, how did I not realize this? This is when I was healed from my betrayal trauma. I was like, oh my God, how did I not realize this? I was visualizing my own stop sign at the end of my road. But so we want it to be easy and quick to recall, so that in those challenging moments, there it is. And you'll know, like, there's your moment to pause. There's your moment to step out of that circle, that cycle, and practice one of your tactics, whether it's getting up to move or urge surfing, whatever it is. And you'll have that power of choice to stop and to choose. You know, your choice is to choose a positive reaction rather than to choose an unhealthy path, right? Because we've talked before about choosing your healthy pathways. Our brain is malleable. We want to choose the healthy pathway. We want to choose the lush, green, butterfly-filled, flower-filled, little bunnies hopping down the trailway. We want that pathway, not the one that's overgrown with weeds and, I'm going to say, spiders. I know some people like spiders. I do not. We don't want that one. That's the unhealthy one. We want the pretty, lush green one. But yeah, like I said, you know, get up and move. As you're starting to feel like that bubbling up in your chest, and, you know, maybe it's in your throat, wherever it may start. Maybe it's your hands are starting to get clammy. Whatever your signs are that your body is trying to tell you, literally get up and move. Whether that means, you know, going for a quick walk around the block, or, you know, quick walk around your living room, or even just getting up and doing some jumping jacks. You know, maybe you're in your office and you're starting to feel anxiety. Move your feet. You know, stomp your feet. Do something. Move. Just get up and go to the bathroom or go get water. Whatever it takes to break the moment that you're in. Pause. Step away from the unhealthy choice or the unhealthy thought, and then do something completely different. You can also try reciting your favorite, or not your favorite, your recovery or your healing mission statement. You may know this as a mantra. If you don't have one, you can create one. This is just the vision that you see for yourself, and the destination that your healing or your recovery will lead you to. And it's just, you know, a few sentences, something that you can read to yourself every day. And remember, the more often you read this to yourself, the easier it will be to recall. So in those moments when you're needing to pause and step away, you know, you'll have that there. And it's something that you can think about to keep you inspired as well. And you can do the same thing with, you know, like a favorite quote or favorite verse or lyric, whatever, because these things have the power to make you take pause and stop. And, you know, it's important to note that these moments, because they are so quick, you still have control. It may not feel like it, but you still have a choice and you are in control. And if it's possible, if you're in a place, try to reach out to somebody after that moment, because reaching out and connecting with someone can really make a difference. If it's not possible, get into your go bag. If you don't have one, I highly suggest getting one. And I know sometimes it's hard to get a go bag together because that feeling can be overwhelming. It's like, what am I supposed to put in this thing? And how do I even get one together? Even if it means getting 3 things, right? Optimally, it's 5 because we do better with 5 choices. But that's just statistics. I don't know why. But even if it's 3 things, just get 3 things. But again, try to get 5. They don't have to be expensive. Go to my website, look it up. It can be anything. But get a go bag together. And start using some of your favorite recovery tools, because once the moment has passed, your odds are you're going to still feel some of the remnants of that, and you want to turn towards healthy stuff so that you don't slip into that moment again. And that doesn't mean that it's, all done and over with, because they are so quick and you aren't in control. So you still have choices to make after the moment has passed. You still need to continue to take control, and that means continuing to make healthy choices. So turn towards the healthy options, right? So now that we've talked about those quick moments, let's talk a little bit more about when we've made a choice. Because it feels like it's right, but you're uncomfortable because sometimes when we've made a choice and we think about it and it's in your heart and you know it's the right choice, and yet there's all these feelings of uncomfortableness. So why is that? It could be that you're putting yourself outside your comfort zone. So take a look at it. Ask yourself where the feelings of uncomfortableness are coming from. Ask yourself honestly, why is that coming to this? Like, why is that coming to the surface? Is this a good choice for you? Is it a safe choice? Or are you uncomfortable because you're taking a risk? And is the risk what's making you feel uncomfortable? Because a lot of times choices will challenge us, and that can be a scary feeling. Because when we challenge ourselves to grow and to heal and to be clean or sober, uncomfortableness can come with that. And then on the flip side of that, what happens if we're making a choice and that's not healthy for us? Again, don't beat yourself up, right? Everything is a growing opportunity. So look at yourself and ask yourself, why did I make that choice? If I could, what would I have done differently? And what can I do next time to do it better? We learn and we grow from our choices. And the same holds true if you have a choice that you're trying to make if you're unhappy right now and you have something weighing on you. Ask yourself, why am I unhappy? Why am I stuck on this? On this particular choice that I'm trying to make. You can ask yourself, where do I want to be instead? How do I want to feel right now? Or how did I get here? Write it down. Think about it. And if you find yourself stuck, that's okay. Because even if you haven't decided, you still made a choice, because not deciding is a choice. Just don't stay there for too long and become stagnant. Now, all of this can be super draining. And so we need to know how to reserve our energy. And that's where the spoon theory comes in. When I used to be a moderator at a migraine forum. I know, shocker, right? And that's where I learned about the spoon theory. Christine Masariadino, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, and my apologies. I think every time I say it a different way. But she has lupus. And so her friend asked her, what is it like to have a chronic illness? And so she was trying to tell her, it's a struggle because I just don't have a lot of energy. And her friend, was like, well, I don't get it, like, because you can't see it. So how do you explain it? So Christine grabbed a bunch of spoons from the tables around her, and she handed them to her friend. And she said to her friend, tell me about, like, what you do in detail every day. So her friend was like, well, I take a shower. So Christine grabbed a spoon away. And then I eat breakfast, and Christine grabbed another spoon away. And as her friend was describing, her day in detail, Christine was grabbing spoons, and her friend ran out of them, pretty quickly. And so Christine explained that, she has a limited amount of spoons, and each spoon represented energy. And while her friend would have spoons, they were seemingly infinite because she had seemingly an infinite amount of energy. But Christine had to plan her day according to how she felt. And sometimes rationing her spoons had to be done carefully because she had to make sure she could make it to, the lunch date like she had to do today, or a doctor's appointment, or even some days, depending on how high her pain was, just to take a shower. And for me, like, I could relate to that. Like, there's rarely a day that I don't have some kind of pain. Like today, I have a migraine, or my shoulder hurts. And so I have to be aware of how many spoons it'll take to get through my day. So how does that apply to addiction, healing, or even mental health? Well, we may have limited, resources. We may have limited tools in our recovery and healing toolbox. Maybe we're new in our recovery or healing. Maybe we're coming off of a trigger or a setback or a relapse. Maybe we're dealing with pause or brain fog. Maybe we're going through withdrawal. Maybe we've just experienced a disclosure. So all of these things can affect our energy. And so we need to find ways to learn how to prepare for each day. And so we can do that by doing a mental inventory to determine if you're feeling anxious or stressed or triggered, before your day has even begun. And so knowing and being aware of your spoons, of your energy, can really make a difference. I've talked before about doing your daily check-in before your feet hit the floor. Do that here. Be mindful of blast and halt. If you don't know what that is, it's just bored, lonely, angry, stressed, or tired. And this way you can reserve your spoons so you're not susceptible to your triggers. Make sure that you're doing things that promote balance so you're not zapping your energy. Make sure you're doing things that will reserve spoons. Things like spend time with people who fill you up, right? These are people who pour into you. And when I say that, I mean, like when you have a conversation, like I'm going to go the opposite way. I have someone at work, very nice person. They lean more towards pessimism than optimism. So like if you walk up to them like, hey, how you doing? And it's just like a gray cloud is over them. They're just like, wah, wah. And that's just who they are as a person. And so I try not to spend a lot of time around them because they're just draining. And I choose to spend time around optimistic people. And that show, oh gosh, my kids love it. In the Shadows, I think that's what it is. And they have that guy, the vampire that drains everybody's energy. That's what this person is like. And so you don't want to spend a lot of time with those people. You want to spend time with people who fill you up. And you need to be able to recognize when you can't, that you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you are feeling drained, like today, I have a migraine, I'm doing something that fills me up. I love to write, I love to podcast. These things make me happy. It is my hope that there's one person that listens today and I've helped them. I know my podcast probably sounds like crap, but people listen, and that means maybe I'm helping. And then later, when I need to honor my, realize that, okay, you've done what you can. Now it's time to watch, reality TV and rest, which will probably be within, the next 2 hours. I'll watch my reality TV, thank you, Andy, and zone out, because then I do what fills my reserve, which is crappy TV. My husband will watch puppy and cat videos, and don't tell him I told you that. But that's what, he does, or I'll watch comedies and stuff like that. Like, do things that fill you up, laugh, visualize your happy place. These are the things that, reserve your spoons, because you're pouring into yourself, but, and know when you're draining it. Like, yes, I'm doing something that makes me happy, but it will drain me. And so that's what I mean when I was saying, like, I'll have to watch Housewives. I got a little sidetracked. But when you're visualizing your happy place and your favorite memory, because I've talked about that before, that really works. Like, there was this one time I was at my neurologist's office, because that's one appointment I will not cancel. And I was in a lot of pain. And so I stepped outside so I could do my guided imagery to my happy place. And I remember putting my head against the cement column that was outside and did my guided imagery, imagine my happy place. I was so into it that like 25 minutes had passed. And I remember, looking at my watch, and I was like, oh my God, I better get back inside. I'm going to miss my appointment. But it works. But you're feeding into your reserve by tapping into your energy. So work on your vision board, because when you're working on things that are promoting your future, this is tapping into positivity. It's tapping into gratitude. Utilize your recovery and healing I can't talk, toolkit. Honor your emotions, just like what I said. Okay, so maybe it's my health, but, understanding that in a little while, I'm not going to be able to keep talking, so I know I'm going to have to stop. That's honoring the fact that I need to take care of my health. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to scream into a pillow, scream into a pillow. Like, you are allowed to be angry. You are allowed to be sad. You are allowed to not want to participate in something. Like, these are, well, that's boundaries, but these are things that you're allowed to feel. Write out gratitude lists, because sometimes that's what it may take for you to be like, you know what, the rain cloud person. Sometimes we just need to go, you know what, maybe things aren't as bad as I think they are. But turning towards gratitude really does shift your focus. It's wild. I couldn't believe how much it changed me and my healing. Also, reading affirmation cards, I talk about them all the time, but that's because they work. And another way to help reserve your spoons is by setting bite-sized goals, because a lot of times we might put too much on our plate. And you remember that saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. But knowing how to set those bite-sized goals without guilt, just as an example, I don't know, maybe your kids want, all I can think of is tacos, which really aren't that difficult. But you have to chop the tomatoes and you have to cut up the lettuce and then the cheese and all that stuff. And you're just exhausted. Well, it's like, no, guys, we're just going to have spaghetti or a bowl of cereal. I don't know. And then you leave the dishes in the sink overnight. Who cares? Like, and setting goals, you wanted to do 11 things today and you only got done 3. That's fine. You got something done. Or maybe you created goals and you weren't able to do it. That's okay. Just give yourself grace. You guys know one of my favorite topics is boundaries. Well, look and see if you are actually maintaining healthy boundaries, because that is one of the biggest drains on your spoons, on your energy. Learn the word no without explanation. It's a complete sentence. Just no. And then, you guys know one of my favorite sayings is, what is the good? So instead of saying, what good is it? Say, what is the good instead? And if you struggle with knowing how to set goals, there is a goals worksheet on my website, and there's also a gratitude list on there as well. So no matter where you are in your journey, whether this is your first day, your 101st day, I want you to know you can do this. You have strength that you never thought possible. I am in your corner. You are an absolute superstar. If you have any questions, please reach out to my website. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on with my voice. I'm about to cough again. So please visit my website, bookendsofrecovery.com. This is Laura wishing you a beautiful day. Thank you so much for stopping by.